Hello there, my name is Ivars, and today I am joined with two of my friends, Nick and Emils. And
Hello.
we've been, well, personally I've been having a pretty hard time surviving since right now I'm feeling corona-like symptoms, so not a fun time. But how have you been, guys? It's been like a week. Last week we were talking to Anna and Adrian. Unfortunately, I mixed up his name. But how have you been, guys?
I've been pretty good. Most of the time I'm just going out for walks in the forest or chopping wood. It's kind of a boring life, just like most people's. But yeah, I'm not complaining about the fact that I've got like a lot of space around me, so there's time to explore and go out and appreciate the nature.
I hope you're not going out with more than two people altogether. You don't want a 2,000 euro, fine from the police.
I mean, it depends if you label my dog as a person.
Well, fair point. And you, Nick?
Well, I've been like full of anxiety, but to solve that, I've been listening to a lot of music and also making food. Like I've made pancakes like already 3 times, and muffins, and also a cake. So, yeah.
That's pretty cool. At least our cooking skills are going to be awesome. Anyways,
Oh, yeah.
today we're going to be talking about April Fools and
Knock,
we
knock.
who's there?
Corona, don't open the door.
Exactly. Don't open the door. So that's the grace. So today we're going to be talking about April Fools and uh, anyway we are going to be talking about more about humor in general and well, what kind of things do you guys find funny during this time of very great unhappiness?
So I don't know. Like I'm in general a connoisseur of dark humor,
Fair point.
so I've been watching some Sacha Baron Cohen lately.
Hmm.
Not promoting that, not promoting that. But yeah, those are just my taste.
Yeah.
And then of course memes, just like everyone.
What kind of memes?
That just really depends on what the Instagram or Facebook algorithm throws at me. Like
Yeah.
the computer knows me better than I do, so.
Okay. And you, Nick?
Same. I've been watching Vines on YouTube and memes on Instagram.
Hmm. Well, what kind of memes?
Different memes like writing memes, anxiety memes, also some memes about Corona, like conspiracy theories. For
What?
example, who created Corona?
And
It
who
was
did
the
create
grocery
Corona?
stores.
Of course.
Mm.
Anyways, so yeah, memes. Memes are a great topic. Also, I've been seeing that TikTok has been becoming more and more popular nowadays. That people have nothing else to do than just make TikToks. Um, but also, um, but what kind of topics dominate nowadays? That's the real question. What should I look out for? What is supposed to be funny nowadays? Emil, do you have any ideas about
Um,
that?
Toilet paper. That's the one thing everyone's been hyping about.
True.
Um, anything else? Like honestly, I've heard like not necessarily it's not necessarily a joke, but a lot of people have been playing bingo on Instagram. I'm known as that.
A
Like
bingo.
exchange. Like I've had an exchange student bingo. Someone just posts, "What have you done in your exchange program
Hmm.
previously?" And then you just tick them, post them to your story, and then the next person takes that.
Oh,
And there are like all kinds of bingos going around right now.
yeah, I've noticed that artist bingos have been showing up, and I've done a fair few myself on Instagram, posting them to my stories and asking people to, well, do an artist bingo too that I know. You, Nick, what are your what have you seen dominate the sphere of humor nowadays?
Well, mostly on my Instagram feed, I see Tumblr memes. where it's like mostly puns and some stuff from Tumblr, and also just memes about different artists I follow.
Oh, so what kind of memes about what kind of artists? Well,
Different, like there was this Taylor Swift feud that went with Kanye,
mhm.
you know, the 2016 drama. Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
and basically the full video got released, so my Instagram feed has been mainly like a news source. Like, it's a lot of people are going like, oh, you know, Taylor was always right, like, that's the stuff, you know,
Yeah.
and we knew this, let's go Swifties, and mostly memes about that. But I also think people should sometimes calm down with all that hyping stuff, because, like, it happened, we're over that, like, stop. You need to calm down.
I mean, people don't really have anything better to do nowadays than just like sit on social media or work from home. And when people sit on social media and have nothing else to do, they're gonna like hype for something, right? Like Taylor Swift or something. Yeah. So you can see a lot. Like if any new drama appears, social media is gonna be on fire. Yeah. Also, have you noticed any topics you can't really joke about? Like nowadays, you cannot really joke about a few certain topics, about certain historical events are considered dark humor, or just in general you can't joke about. So, is there anything nowadays you can't really joke about, especially during this time of Corona? Like,
Yeah, it's like you see a lot of racist jokes,
oh,
like a lot of them.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
Corona came from China, so it's gonna break.
oh yeah, getting
Yeah.
political.
Like, all the jokes are racist, and it's like, why?
Mhm. Yeah,
Those
well,
are ridiculous.
Mm.
there have been some memes about like China, about how it really came to be, and they themselves are pretty racist by their nature. But yeah, I've noticed them as well. So people joke about them, yeah, but you can't really joke about those kinds of topics. So
Like, I've seen articles of like Chinese people getting beaten up just because like or being stigmatized just because it came from China. In some places it's really bad.
well, how can we explain that? Like, why are people really going out in the streets and beating Chinese people? Because, well, there's
It's because they are racist, so they just see an Asian person and they're like, oh, so they must have corona. Let's hit them, which is stupid because in that way you would get the corona.
Yeah. And also,
I mean,
like,
honestly, from a different perspective, I think it's also like the natural tendency for us humans to look for a cause or an enemy. Because, you
Yeah.
know, when, like,
Yeah.
I've heard a lot of people compare this to a war. And in a regular war, you know who your enemy is and you know who you're fighting. But here, it's like you can't even see it. It's just a tiny piece of protein reproducing itself using our cells. So
yeah.
you want to blame it on something physical.
Yeah.
Like, usually putting blame on something in general, just kind of, I don't know, is, I guess, defense mechanism.
Yeah. Well, and in
Because,
general,
you know,
normal people
like, I've heard,
like us, on a day-to-day basis, we cannot attack our enemy, the coronavirus. So we attack the next associated thing. So that is
yeah.
unfortunately sad, and some white supremacist groups are going to be, you know, having a field day.
Mhm.
But hopefully, well, hopefully nothing bad is going to happen because of.
But before we move on to the next topic, I just wanted to mention another thing that I really think people should not be joking about right now.
Okay.
Like, I've heard a lot of people, in America as well, and here as well. Actually, like, I don't know anyone personally, but I've heard it's a trend to lick surfaces in public places and shopping centers just because it's funny. Like, I don't know what kind of teen or rebel or whatever humor that is, but that's just ridiculous. I've talked to a few of my friends in the US, and like some of them think that they should be put in prison for that. And honestly, I think it's the same because you don't know if you're actually killing someone, and that's not like accidental anymore. That's intentional. So that's like almost like indirect manslaughter.
Yeah, in a way, we are all responsible for what happens. But on a more lighthearted note, I heard that the whole challenge, the coronavirus challenge, started from a girl licking her own toilet seat on TikTok or something. I've seen something like that, and in general, why would somebody do that? It seems so absurd that people take this thing, this challenge to that kind of a degree, licking surfaces in public places. You shouldn't do that in general, and especially nowadays, because the coronavirus, it kills people. Like, as you said, indirect manslaughter. So yeah. Any thoughts about this, Nick? Yeah, please, Emil.
Okay, I mean, I was just gonna say, small side note. It's kind of like phenomenal, like what people can do using challenges. Like you had the blue whale challenge a few years ago.
Yeah, that was a horrible.
I mean, they definitely have good like implications when you have something like the ice bucket challenge, where people are donating thousands to the charity. But then you have like this weird stuff, you know, where
the kind of used.
Yeah.
This is the mysterious voice of the producer right now. I just want to say we have one comment from a listener who says, going back to your point you made earlier, because people always need someone else to blame.
Yeah,
that is the whole point. You cannot blame a small tangled up piece of protein for somebody's death, and you cannot blame a small tangled piece of you cannot physically attack it. You physically can. So you attack the next best thing. You blame the people and the country of origin. So that is in general sad. Like,
yeah, and I mean it could have come from anywhere. Like it could have come from Africa. Might as well it could have come from Latvia or America. It's just like it's just like a side product of us going into wild habitats, finding species that we hadn't found and hadn't had contact with previously, and just catching their sicknesses.
Yeah. Back on the coronavirus challenge. Nick, do you have any thoughts you want to share about the coronavirus challenge?
The challenge is just absurd. I hadn't even heard about it, but like, why would you do that? Why?
Well, people have a lot of time on their hands, I guess. Quarantine drives people, like, I've heard this very interesting study, that you place people in an empty room, say you're going to be back in 15 minutes. You leave a buzzer that whenever you press the button, the person is going to receive an electric shock. And the study found people would rather feel pain than feel boredom. So in a way, doing this challenge is a way to stave off boredom. This is the result of boredom. This is, well, maybe we're going a bit too deep into this, but I think it's just in a way, people out of boredom create these weird things.
I mean, yeah, it's kind of philosophical, because like, what would you rather feel? Would you rather feel pain, or would you rather feel nothing? It's kind of like.
Yeah. Well, is there anything else you guys want to comment on this, or we can move on to the next talking point?
We can move on.
Okay, yeah. Talking about licking toilet bowls or toilet seats isn't the best thing. Anyway, so in general, we can talk about something very philosophical. What is humor, and why is humor here? How do people use humor, and why? Good question.
Indeed. I think it's like almost kind of a relief mechanism, because like I remember this specifically from 7th or 8th grade when we were having music lessons, and we'd learn songs that they used to sing during the Black Plague, so that I don't know, they kind of just felt like it's not, like, if it kills us, it kills us, like it's nothing big. Like, it's to stop all the stress coming into us. So like, it's literally like, if you're gonna die, then you're gonna die. Life goes on. So I think it's kind of similar here. Like, even when people were joking about it in January and like laughing at it, like it's never gonna get here. Well, now it's here. I think it was a like relief mechanism, like a psychological relief mechanism then, and it's probably the same way like right now.
Another good example, we could, like, it's a relief mechanism because people, we can look at this specific situation that 2020, you know how it started. It started with the possibility of a war. Yeah, World War III. And afterwards, Australian wildfires, and now a global pandemic. People are still joking about, like, oh, like, it wasn't so bad, and then there's a meme about how the Death Star is slowly approaching the Earth because that's what's going to happen in April, right? It's a way to relieve stress. And people also joke about dark things. Well, I previously mentioned that there are certain topics who usually people should avoid from talking or joking because they're insensitive. But why do people joke about them, right? It's to say the times have passed, now we can joke about them, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't know about anyone else, but like sometimes, and I'll be honest about this, like you get a kind of a weird, I guess, rebel satisfaction when you make jokes about things you're not supposed to. Maybe that's just like my teenage side speaking here, but like it kind of makes it even a bit spicier, you know.
Well, yeah, things you shouldn't talk about, and then you talk about. Of course, they give you an adrenaline rush or gratification. Nick, why do we joke? What's the purpose of humor?
Well, I think it's a coping mechanism in order to not talk about what you're actually feeling, because in most cases, people who joke, they're like, "Oh, Corona's not gonna get here, ha ha ha," and on the inside, they're like, "Oh, what if it does get here? What will happen? Am I gonna die?" And so instead, they joke about it, and they're like, "Ha ha ha."
Yeah, it's not gonna get here. Well,
true.
Yeah.
I would disagree.
Oh, why?
Because a laugh can be fake, but when you're crying, you're actually processing your emotions, which is good for you, so you don't bottle them up.
Also, yeah,
That's so true.
That is true. But genuine humor, if we talk about genuine humor, like, I guess, yeah, you can fake a laugh, but I guess it's better to laugh about something than cry about something. I mean, I would rather laugh about my bad feelings.
Sorry, this is the producer
Sure.
again. I just want to mention, sorry, my microphone was off. I'm not doing a very good job producing right now, but the comment from the listener, which they were just discussing, was better joking about things than crying about them, right? So that was the comment from the listener.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, we agree, and we mostly agree, but yeah, there are some points, yeah, you can fake a laugh as well. So
I mean, I think it's like natural, a balance in everything. So yeah, side note for me. Let's keep going.
Yeah. So, any other topics you guys want to discuss? I'm running dry on things to say, but we can also talk about what is okay to joke about. We talked about what is not okay to joke about, and we also, we talked about certain topics that we will not mention, but you shouldn't joke about certain things. But what should we joke about?
I mean, here it's like I have to say here it's like a very what is objective.
You mean
like what is objective is subjective to the culture you're in. So like if we're in the Western world, I mean it's probably gonna be okay to talk about, I don't know, eating pig or I don't know, regular women's jokes, you know, but like what I'm trying to say here is that there are differences between what is okay in one culture and what is okay in another. So I mean, I guess if we're talking in the regular Western culture basis, I mean everyday life probably. Like in general, if we're talking about the corona, I think it's just most of the topics are okay. As long as you're not like really hard bashing on the people who are suffering from it.
Yeah. In general, if we talk about this, for example, here in Latvia, if we take a general example, it's pretty okay to joke about politicians. Pretty okay.
Yeah.
How about some other places? I don't know anything about how people joke about politicians in America. Emil, I believe you're the best suited to. From us three.
Oh yeah, that's completely okay. It's even encouraged there. I'm just joking, but like, no, people do that a lot. I mean, like you have late night talk show hosts who are literally making bank off of that for the past 3 years, probably, ever since 2016.
Yeah.
Like, and almost like I don't know. I kind of feel like it's even getting old now. Like they find out way to rip on Donald Trump in almost everything they talk about. So like, sometimes you can start to understand what Trump means when he says fake news, liberal media, blah 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 blah.
You are actually through humor learning about Donald Trump.
Yeah.
No, that's a very funny way to look at it. I believe it's an old topic. As some people would say, stop beating a dead horse, in a way.
Yeah.
Nick, what kind of topics do you think are very, are acceptable or even encouraged to joke about?
Well, I think the daily life, like the same toilet paper thing.
Especially now.
Yeah. Like toilet paper crisis, also puns, and some also jokes that are not offensive.
Can you give us a good example?
I only have puns in my mind.
I have one in my head.
Ooh, what is it?
Sure.
I mean, I like there was the one Finding Waldo meme, Corona edition, where you literally have just like, the game and with Finding Waldo, where like there's a huge crowd of people and you just find this one person.
Yeah.
Well, now he's literally standing alone in the street or on the beach.
Yeah.
Like then there's the joke about all the stocks of like Charmin and what we have here. I think they're called legumes here in Latvia, and macaroni pasta company stocks going up.
Oh yeah.
I actually just checked the Charmin stock, and it was doing better in January than it is now. So kind of weird, but I don't know.
No, it's interesting because people are buying.
We have one comment from a listener who said it's also all right to joke about yourself. Some self-roasts are always a bit healthy.
Yeah, self-deprecating humor.
True.
What is the greatest joke? My wife. This is the old classic joke, yeah.
But it also depends, like, when someone starts doing it too much, I kind of start feeling that there's something that probably should be talked about there.
Yeah.
Like something that's being masked with those kind of self-deprecating jokes. Like I had a friend like that, and there was something under there when because I was friends with him for like years, and so with time I started to notice that under all those hee ha-has there was
genuine hurt.
Genuine hurt.
Yeah, in a way, humor allows us to say things we wouldn't otherwise say. That's a good way to put it. But if self-deprecating humor allows us to do something good with humor, in what kind of situations does humor make things better, and what kind of situations does humor make things worse? Like you mentioned the Donald Trump example about the late night talk shows, who people say things that people make so many jokes that other people are actually getting more interested into, get more involved with Donald Trump.
True.
But that's a bad scenario, but self-deprecating humor is a good scenario where people can say something they wouldn't otherwise say. But what other situations can humor make better or worse?
I mean, I think we already touched a few on these topics when we were talking about when we were talking. Like, yeah. I think definitely the worst case scenarios were those stupid challenges that everyone is making.
True.
Yeah.
That's like definitely not helping the situation. But then I mean, there's just a regular laugh and the hit of dopamine you get from seeing a meme or just like scrolling or watching that late night talk show. And what you said, like that people are getting more and more interested in politics because they're watching this late night talk show host that they really like. Like I actually like started following news more just because I found this one late night talk show host that I really like. And I mean, right now they're even spinning the meme on Corona because I've heard that Trevor Noah has like the daily distancing show, where he's literally sitting in his apartment and filming himself. Then you have like all these other. Then you have like I think it was this late night talk show host. He was sitting there sitting in his empty studio with just a green screen and a white wall behind him.
Anyway, talking about news and stuff like that, I remembered one thing. Do you guys know Onion? The Onion. It's The Onion. It's a comedic. It's a parody of a newsletter where they post preposterous headlines.
Oh, I've heard of this. I haven't seen it, but I've heard of it.
Do you think nowadays Onion seems more realistic with a global pandemic just on the horizon, like spewing down on everyone, the World War III and Australian wildfires incoming even more and harder? Do you think something like that is going to be more popular or less popular?
Like you mean kind of like satirical, not the news that are not true?
Yeah, I mean, intentionally fake news.
I guess so. It's really hard to tell, but I mean, the more people start logging onto the internet, the more of that kind of media is going to be out there. And I mean, I don't think it's necessarily okay, because there are a lot of people who are not educated on, like being educated on being able to differentiate between what is true and what is not. Like, there's so many people that just see a Facebook post that says, "Oh, hey, this one Chinese man got killed by killed by a white bystander," or just like something stupid. And like, people don't check. They don't check if that what kind of news source that is. So they literally just post that on their Facebook, and then people who also don't have any form of media education, media literacy education, they just keep reposting and reposting that, and it's like that's how the fake news spreads.
That is definitely how fake news spreads, through social media, right?
Yeah.
But we are getting off topic. So, in that kind of situation, if you believe an Onion headline, they would say you ate the onion. Anyways, anything else to mention, guys, about this whole conversation? Have you learned anything new or found out about something interesting in the world?
I learned that the TikTok has another annoying trend.
Indeed. You gotta recheck that, because that could be fake news from me. Emil,
you just reminded me of the Onion. I might be checking that out.
Anyone who is watching, check out the Onion. It is awesome. The headlines are very funny. Trust
me. Please don't post that on Facebook, or if you do, say it, like, write in a giant bold that this is not true.
The Onion right now is doing these short audio clips, like we're doing right now. They're doing these short news clips. And the people talking there are very interesting and very funny. Some are getting possessed by demons. Anyway, getting off topic. So, it was really fun talking to you guys. I guess hopefully I'll see you next week. Let's see where this goes, where Corona goes. And next week we're going to talk about Easter, if I believe. It's Good Friday, next Friday, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So,
indeed.
So, maybe we're going to invite a guest. So, stay tuned. Thank you, everyone. See ya.